Yeah, and you can say that I'm crazy, that you think you're not ready, but I'm telling you, baby. And you can say that I'm crazy, that you think you're not ready.
And now it's time to get unmasked. Please welcome your host, Pamela Elaine Nichols and Cheryl A.S. Haley.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unmasked Real Talk Live. This is a place where we get real about topics that most often aren't discussed openly. Each week on Unmasked Real Talk Live, we give you an opportunity to share your thoughts and opinions about the topic we unmask. You have our permission, you do, to get real with us here so you can feel better, look better, and live better out there. Now, be sure to stay until the end so you can be eligible for a very special raffle. Today's raffle is You Matter Thoughtful's Pop Open Cards. I promise you, I'm going to win the raffle today. I wasn't even put in the raffle last week when we offered this, but today I'm going to be in this raffle. This gift is filled with little pop open cards with messages inside, elegantly designed to brighten your spirit, catch your attention, and encourage you during seasons of weaning. Every week, we do a challenge based on the topic of the show. Last week, instead of a challenge, we sent out a survey as we want to build a greater rapport as we get to know you, our members in the private Facebook group, on a deeper level, because we are interested in what you're going through and how you want to live better, how you want to look better, how you want to feel better on a daily basis. We received 26 responses to the survey. Now, that's actually less than a 10% response rate. We really like to get that up to about 25% participation. That means if you didn't participate in the survey, we really would love it if you would go ahead and take the survey. It's only 5 questions. It'll take you maybe 2 minutes at most. There's nothing you have to write. It's just click here, click that, select this, select that. To all those who did participate, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to participate. Cheryl and I learned 5 important things about you from the survey. Mm-hmm. And I want to just rattle them off to you very quickly so that you'll know what we discovered, and you'll know that many others felt the same way that you do. One is that the majority of you joined the group because you wanted to live better. So we call this group Feel Better, Look Better, Live Better. But you really want to live better. And later on, we'll explore a little bit more about what live better means to you. The second thing we learned about you is the majority of you consider yourselves somewhat engaged in the group. And we were like, oh, we don't want you to be somewhat. We want you to be fully engaged in the group. So that's why we're doing this survey, so we can find out more about, well, what will help you stay engaged. And so that leads to the third thing. An overwhelming number of you said that you want workshops to help you live better. And this is great news for Cheryl and me because we love doing workshops. This is stuff that we did way back in the day, and we've been discussing, haven't we, Cheryl, about doing workshops. We've been trying to put something together, and then we put it on the back burner. But now that we got the survey results, guess what?
It's on the front burner.
It's going to be on the front burner. Lots of workshops. And then the fourth thing that we learned is that you all want to see more inspirational posts and more posts about health. That was interesting to me. So that was good to see. And then the fifth thing that we learned about you is that on the show, when we asked about like what topics you would want us to tackle, you want us to talk more about, again, health and accomplishing your goals. That was an eye-opener for me as well. So this is really great feedback. Cheryl and I are really excited about implementing your suggestions to help you live better, feel better, look better. Did you see how I did that? No, it really is. We want to help you live better, feel better, look better. And I kind of reversed that from feel better, look better, live better, because I think now Cheryl and I have the message that living better
Mm-hmm.
is the most important thing for you. So anyway, if you want to participate in the survey, you can still do that. We haven't closed it up yet. All you have to do is go to the like highlighted or featured section of our group Facebook, and then you'll see where you can click on the button and answer the survey. 2 minutes, 5 questions. All right, so this week's challenge is a fun Live Better challenge. See, we listen, live better. And we want to talk about your goals. What is a goal you want to accomplish that you have not accomplished yet? And you may have many goals. Try to pick one of them that's most important to you right now. Now, listen to this. If you share in a post what your goals are or what one goal is that you want to accomplish and you haven't, we will add your name to our show raffle. And we're going to start this new way of doing raffling next week. So this is the week to participate in the challenge, because if you participate, we'll take your name, we'll put it in the raffle, and then when it comes to raffle time next Tuesday, your name will be in there. So that's kind of cool. Today we will do it as the way we've been doing it, which is you show up at this show, we put your name in. But next week, you got to participate in the challenge in order for your name to get in the raffle. Okay, so please share your goals in a post or video, and Cheryl and I will coach you with our responses. For today, post your comments below as we unmask today's topic. Ask your questions as we go along so Cheryl and I can laser coach you. Okay, Cheryl, I'll turn it over to you. That was a lot, but it was important.
But it was
Pick it
awesome.
up.
Awesome. And one of the things I wanted to add to Pam is that with regards to the raffle, this also provides an opportunity for those who join us via YouTube. You can also engage in the Facebook community. So your names too can now be added to the raffle. So we're very excited. But one of our participants had a thought and talked about the 5 shifts of our mindset of saying no. So today's topic is, guess what? Saying no is not a bad word. Now, anybody that knows, as Pam shared, we love workshops. And if anybody's ever sat in my workshops on self-care, I always talk about learning to say no to the good things creates an opportunity for us to say yes to the best things for our lives. So again, we're opening up and we're unpacking that quote. Now, we want you to let us know in the chat, for those of you that are here, if this is a familiar scenario for you. I'm going to describe it. And it says somebody asks you to do something and you almost immediately agree, even though it's not something you want to do. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's at ministry. You take on extra responsibilities, even though you're swamped or you're overwhelmed. Or perhaps it's at home, or you agree to help a friend next weekend, but you're overworked or underrested. Or maybe your family member has a health challenge and they nor you are adjusting to the new schedule, but yet you still said yes. As soon as you say yes to this new responsibility, something inside you locks up. If we have any witnesses, we want you to put a comment in the chat, because we recognize that this is a reality. You start to think about all the ways this will put you out. How often have we, my sisters, said yes to something when we really wanted to say no? You might have wanted to say, heck no, no. You think of excuses, hoping it's not too late to back out. But you also don't want to break your word. Either way, you start to feel resentful, used, annoyed, and unappreciated. But remember, you said yes. You can beat yourself up all about it, but you're still going to make the same commitments again and again until you recognize that you need to start setting some boundaries. So is it resonating with anybody? Is it resonating with anybody? Now listen to the 5 reasons why we say yes when we really want to say no. You follow the golden rule. Do unto others. You help people because that's what you want someone to do for you if you were in need, but you don't count the costs. The second thing is you're a person of your word. Sadly, this implies that you're not allowed to change your mind after putting more thought into something. When you stop to think about it and you look at all the other responsibilities because you're underrested and overwhelmed, you could change your mind. The third thing is you may practice what is called the savior behavior. Somebody high five me on that one.
Mm,
Will
mm,
always
mm.
come to you when they're in a jam and you're the one putting out the fires. Yet you're overwhelmed. The fourth one is you fear that you'll lose that person if you say no. You don't want to be rejected or abandoned. So those of us that struggle with feelings of rejection and abandonment, we have to be mindful. If we don't set boundaries, that's where we will find ourselves saying that are fearful that we're going to lose a relationship. I always say, and I'm sure Pamela Lane can concur with me, if it's a friend and it's a relationship that's meant to be, even if you say no, it's still going to be there. But yet we still say yes. We want to say no. The last thing is you fear that if you say no, you'll have an argument that will upset other people that you care about. For example, your father is upset with you because you said no to your sister. Guess what? They'll get over it. But so talk to us. Tell us how you're feeling about this. Pam, does this resonate with you? Because it surely resonates with me.
Yeah, I work with a lot of women in my coaching who are people pleasers.
Mhm.
And because they're people pleasers, they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to say no. They say yes. And so they're stressed out, they're resentful, they're irritable.
Mhm.
And sometimes they deal with depression because they don't know how to stand in their power and say, no. And maybe sometimes saying no is too harsh. But I learned something from Oprah Winfrey. I think she said something like, let me get back, let me think about it, and
Mhm.
let me get back to you. If no, you just can't seem to muster the words out of your mouth of no. Let me let me think
Mhm.
about it. Let me think about it. Let me get back to you. Might
Mhm.
be easier to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
than the straight up no. But it really is a difficult word for women to say.
Yeah. And one of the things is that as we always take time out to do some research about whatever we're talking about, the thing that really surprised me, however, is the piece about people feeling that they will be rejected or abandoned. And we think about because we both, because of the hard work that we do, we work with women, and women often have experienced feelings of abandonment or rejection. So to think about the no, the inability to say no that was linked to that was really surprising to me because I'm like saying, "Oh wow, is that shows us how deep it runs." But the
Mm,
thing that resonated with me was the fact about the savior behavior.
mm,
And I'll have to give kudos to my daughter because my daughter was the first person who actually said to me, "Mom,
mhm.
you can't be my savior or everyone else's savior."
Ooh.
Wow, and I'm thinking, "Savior?" Because we have this need to help, or we
Mhm,
wanna help, especially if that's in you, it's ingrained in you, but at the
mhm.
same token, you have to set boundaries with
Yeah,
them, and by
yeah.
her being transparent and vulnerable
Mhm, mhm.
to say that to me, it
Yeah.
opened my consciousness to recognize that, "Oh, I don't wanna be that," because we only
Mhm.
have one savior, but how many of us take on that mindset without even realizing, and we just cause so much unrest to ourselves emotionally.
Yeah, absolutely, and while you were talking, I was thinking about how we are really taught as young girls
Mhm,
that no, saying no is not nice.
mhm,
Saying no is not nice, and I'll give you a great example. When you're young
mhm,
and, there's your mother says, now there, here's say let your Uncle Bobby hug and kiss you, and you really don't even want to be touched by Uncle Bobby. You don't want to hug and kiss, and you're like, and they're like, go on, let Uncle Bobby go on up to Uncle Bobby and hug and kiss Uncle Bobby. When you really want to say no,
mhm,
we learned early that no is not nice.
mhm,
And we don't want to be the people who are not nice. So we say yes when we really want to say, I don't want to hug Uncle Bobby. I don't like him. I don't like he smells like smoke.
mhm.
He smells like tobacco. I don't want him to hug Uncle Bobby. I can remember that personally.
Yeah, yeah.
Even when my grandmother would call the house, my grandmother lived in Texas, we lived in California, and when she would call, because my grandmother wasn't nice, I'm going to digress for a second. She was not a nice lady, okay? And so when she would call the house and she would want to speak to us, my mother would answer the phone. Oh, hi, Evelyn. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Pam is right here. Pam, come talk to your grandmother. And I didn't want to talk to my grandmother because every year I go visit my grandmother, she was very mean to me. So when I wasn't around her, I didn't want to talk to her.
Mhm.
But I had to say yes. So we're taught to say yes to the things that we want to say no to. And then when we become adults, we don't know how to say no.
Hmm. Well, you know what, Pam? It's like as we unpack this topic, and we're grateful for one of the sisters in our community, Leslie Crudup, who actually made the suggestion that we talk about this. And one of the things is that we're talking about family because when we shared the analogy, we talked about both work, family, and ministry. And I just, as you were sharing, I just wanted to just touch base with the ministry aspect of it for a moment because what happens is that being somebody who formerly taught what we call today the new members class, people would come in and they would do these assessments and they find out that you had these respective gifts. Oh, we're going to put you on the choir. And would you
Mm,
like, how many times the choir, or if you had to
mm,
get hospitality, whatever it was, people had a tendency, or we allowed people to put us in positions because of just what you talked about. We were
mm.
raised that we should say yes, and we never exercise our ability to say no. While I am a gifted singer, right now I just need to sit on a pew for a minute because I've been through a little something, something, and I need to be ministered to. We take our brokenness and we go serve in the respective capacities in ministry because we're afraid to say no, because we have this need to be accepted. We have this need to be not rejected, or we have this need to feel like I'm a part of, not realizing even if I say no, I'm still a part of. And I have seen it down through the years, and I've done it myself. That when we get to the place that we understand the value of saying no, we can say no. Pam and I will even take you through drill practices to just say no. Say it
Yeah.
with her. No. You can say
Yeah.
it nice. You can say it super nice.
Yeah.
You can say it any kind of way. But the value of learning to say no is just so necessary,
Yeah.
especially at the time.
Yeah. And I like that because
Yeah.
I would say no means new opportunity.
Yeah,
Okay. When I say no, I mean new opportunity.
I love that.
And yeah, so if that's a struggle, in fact, I'm gonna use that for myself. So when I really want to say no, and I'm thinking, oh, I probably need to say yes because I want to be nice. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to feel the pain of someone saying, oh, you say no, then I'm not gonna talk to you anymore, or you can't come hang out with me. I'm gonna remember, new opportunity. And that might make it a little easier for everyone to say no when they want to say no. And it's okay to
Yes.
say no. It's
Yeah.
okay if
Yeah.
you don't want to participate in something, if you don't want to take on a particular goal, you don't want to take on somebody's responsibility, if you don't want to talk to your grandmother, it's okay to say no.
It is. It really is. And again, when you say, like we refer back to the quote, when we begin to say no to some things, we allow ourselves, when you talk about new opportunities, to say yes to something that we really want to do. And again, my sisters, we've done it. And we're not coming in here acting like we got it all together and we've had it all together.
Mm,
Stop saying yes to things that you really don't like. That's the other thing. Because if we talk about being happy and being authentic, you
that's
cannot be authentic when you're doing something that you really don't want to
it.
do. And it's not helping anybody because the person that you're serving can recognize and appreciate she really don't like doing that.
That is the truth. And then when we recognize, oh, she really don't want to do that, then we get offended because we don't like the way that person is interacting with us because they should have said no a long time ago, but they were saying yes, and they hate what they're doing. Even when you go into the store, or
Yes.
you're dealing with a teller, or somebody at call center, you know that their no has been everywhere, and they've been yes, 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 and so they're nasty with you, and then you get offended. It just really doesn't serve us
Yeah.
at all when we say yes to
Yeah.
the no.
Yeah. And when
Um,
we and Pam, when we talk about accountabilities and we've talked about having authentic relationships, when I think about the topics that we previously had and where we are today, as sharing with you that saying no is not a bad word. Just last week, I shared with Pam, and we've done many things together. We have kindred hearts about the things that we want to do to empower women. But I shared with her an opportunities of an event that I'm participating in. She didn't hesitate. She said, no, I'm not feeling that. She said no. And I appreciate it. And guess what? I accepted her no. And what happens when you're in a healthy relationship, you give people permission. And we talk about it all the time in our personal group coaching that we do. We give people permission to be who they are. So I give her permission, even in the work that we do together. She doesn't have to say yes to things that I might bring to the table, vice versa. And we're okay. I mean, but what I'm saying is that when you're in an authentic relationship, an authentic sisterhood, you can say no and it's all good. It's all good.
I really love that, Cheryl, because what we do need to do in our relationships is give people permission to say no. You have my permission to say no when no is real for you. I really, really like that. In fact, I'm going to start I want everyone to implement giving people permission to say no, because then you can really test to see if this is a relationship that's worth fighting for and sustaining. Because if they don't feel comfortable saying no, you've got a relationship that's controlled.
Yes.
And that is not.
That don't work.
But maybe we should unmask the question, because we've already gone deep into what's the unmasked question for today?
The unmasked question is, do you struggle with saying no? We want you guys to let us know, do you struggle with saying no? Because we want to help you out a little bit. We hope what has helped you out. But if you struggle with saying no, put a comment in the chat.
Yeah, and I think we have a couple of people who did say, that's me. That's me. I think I was like earlier in our conversation, all the time, probably struggling with saying no. Someone said most of the time, and somebody gave us a raised hand. Yeah, me. Struggling with saying no. Yeah. So we probably need to help them understand. We actually, what you said a few moments ago, Cheryl, is that you and I can help them practice the no.
Yes. Yeah.
Because what you have to do is practice the feeling that comes when you say no.
Yeah.
Practice being okay with the feeling, because it may be uncomfortable to say no. And whenever we have discomfort or pain, the tendency is to run from it. But if we practice no and then allow you to sit in the feeling of no, the discomfort of no, then when it's time to really go out in the world and say no, you'll be able to do it.
Absolutely. And for the user, for the persons in the chat who actually put in, and that's me and I struggle, if someone could quickly just somebody did put something in there. I do struggle with saying no, especially to my daughter. Why did I read that question? Why did I read that? Well, you know what happens is that when we think about it, one of the things is that, particularly when we talk about family, because that's one of those areas where no could be very difficult, because whether it's another family member, oftentimes you don't want your children, you don't want your daughter to be upset because you said no. But if I think about, I do struggle with saying no, especially to my daughter. That's something that I, in times past, have experienced. But what I had to learn was, and what I'm sharing to you, is that you have to recognize when you say no, when it's necessary for you, and it creates opportunities, as Pam said earlier, new opportunities, then you kind of get comfortable with the no, because you recognize that you're positioning yourself for something that you want, and you're not putting yourself on the back burner, but you're putting yourself back on the front burner. And oftentimes when we struggle with it, it's because there's something else we want to do. And as we shared earlier, when we were sharing what the signs were, whenever you have that uneasiness on the inner part of yourself, you're supposed to say no. And whether it's daughter, son, husband, whomever, say no. Learning how to move and navigate, that was not easy for me, but I had to learn it, because one of the things that we talk about, the interests that you all have shared, which is health, when we continuously say yes to things that are taking us out of our element, guess what happens? we ourselves become stricken with some type of ailment, whether it's
Mm.
physical or emotional, because we've allowed ourselves to become overwhelmed with the yeses. So
Yeah, yeah.
remember,
And
just say no. Just say no.
yeah. And our producer is saying, okay, let's go to the takeaways. But let me just say this really quickly to the person who said, I do struggle with saying this, no, especially to my daughter. It's the question, which is, what do you fear? What do you fear in saying no to your daughter? What is the fear there? We'd love to hear you respond to that. Okay. Oh, oh dear,
We
we
got
got one more.
Oh, hey, Pam, just real quick. The person who said yes more so with authority figures and family, but I've got much better in my later years as I've learned my time and health are valuable to me. Can I speak to that for 1 second? It's going to be 1 second.
1 second.
That yes to me.
Time's up. That was 1 second.
Yes to me was I had to quit the job. That's what I had to quit the job. That was my yes to me. I had to quit the job for new opportunities. We're going to jump right into the takeaways so we can do our raffle. This has been an awesome topic. Well, Pam, when we look at the takeaways to shift our mindset about saying no, the first one is commit to a true yes. It is a yes that aligns with your values and your best interest. You feel it. You feel it in your whole body. It's easy and there's no doubt. There's no worry and there's no butterflies. Pam,
Number 2 is commit to setting personal boundaries, recognizing the importance of establishing limitations that uphold your values and allow you to practice self-care is a self-compassionate act. You matter.
Yes. And the last one, saying no is saying yes to something else. Every time you say no to one thing, guess what? You're saying yes to something else. No means freeing up your time and in some cases, your emotional bandwidth to engage in other, perhaps more positive activities. So now we're going to let our producer, Kayla, come forth with that raffle.
I hope I'm in it. I hope I win.
She said she hopes you win.
I want to win.
Here it goes. Congratulations. Oh my God. That is wonderful. We are so glad that you all joined us on today. It is 1:58 and we got to wrap it up. But today's raffle again for our winner is a You Matter Thoughtfuls pop-up open cards. This gift is filled with pop-up cards and messages inside, elegantly designed to brighten your spirit, catch your attention, and encourage you during seasons of preparing to say and practice and exercise your no. So remember, we've already been giving you the challenge for next week. We want you to look out for all the exciting things that we're going to put in our Feel Good group. So again, thank you for joining us. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And you can say that I'm crazy,